2024 regular meeting of the Burlington Board of Health to order. Please join me in a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm Dr. Edward Weiner, and I'm chairman of the Burlington Board of Health. And with me this evening is Mary Beth Welch, Andrea Sheehan, Mara El Sabahi, and my vice chair, Gail Demori, is not with us this evening. She is ill. Also tonight, our professional staff, Director of Public Health is Susan Luminello. Next to her is Associate Director of Public Health, Michael Green. We have our environmental engineer, who is Christine Mathis, and health agent, Marlene Johnson. Wow. And also this evening, we have recording secretary, Ms. Julie Falkingham. Thank you so much for coming, Julie. So, please note that we are on and will be taped by BCAT and available for appropriate comments and questions through this video technology. And as always, thank you for BCAT for what you do for this community, keeping us all aware and so well informed. We have approval of the minutes July 23rd, 2024. I know you have them. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Please, motion to approve. Second?
Motion to approve.
We have a second by Ms. Sabahi. Are there any corrections, omissions, deletions? I have a couple here. On page, I guess on page 2, it says there were not questions on the tobacco coordinators and the same. Please, there were no questions, because just change those, take the T's off. And just as a note here, which doesn't mean anything because I'll correct it during my chairman's report, I just want to note that it was an error. The Broad Institute ribbon cutting will not be August 21st. Will be September 1st, September 10th. So I will correct it but I just want to note that it happened to be an error on the meetings, probably on my or somebody else's report. I don't remember, but it's just, I will correct that during the chairman's report. You don't need to correct that on the notes. You don't need to correct it. So I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Abstain.
I have 3, 0, 1, please. Correct. Okay. The next is citizens' time. Is there anybody here or online who is not on the agenda, does not have an agenda item?
So we do have someone raising their hand, Bob.
Okay, Bob, 1 second, please. Is there anybody first here and have any? We have Bob online would like to address the board. Please, Bob.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate this opportunity, and good evening. I've been thinking about an issue for quite some time.
Would you please state your name, Bob?
Oh, I'm sorry. Bob Young, 3 Valley Circle.
3 Valley Circle. Thank you, Mr. Young.
You're welcome. Thank you. So, as I said, I've been thinking about something health-wise for quite some time, and was probably going to reach out at some point, but what prompted my hopefully brief remarks here today was the major announcement by Stop & Shop to remove cigarettes from all its stores. They're joining Walmart, CVS, and Target, who've already taken that step. And so I'm trying to say that that's obviously a positive for the health. So I'm glad of that. And what I want to do is kind of move that over to a different subject, which is I'm under the understanding that our select board or another board in this town is talking about or considering zoning to allow for marijuana dispensaries. And so I'm concerned about that. I know I'm not on the agenda, but maybe we can have that agenda item because there are some long-term studies there are studies that say long-term usage, especially in adolescents, of marijuana creates a whole host of health problems. So my goal tonight is to highlight the Stop and Shop good news, but to say I'd like to be on hopefully the committee would agree that an agenda item should be whether it's a good idea for Burlington to allow perhaps marijuana dispensaries in this community. So that's my comments. I greatly appreciate the opportunity.
Well, thank you, Mr. Young. Mr. Young, I have spoken with our Director of Public Health a little about that, and it is a zoning issue which does not fall within the Board of Health. And as it pertains to marijuana, at this point in time, maybe fortunately, maybe unfortunately, it is a state issue because marijuana, both for medicinal marijuana and for recreational marijuana, is legal in Massachusetts, and we have no say over the regulation of marijuana. At this point in time, I fully understand what you have to say. I absolutely do. Maybe Ms. Luminello could further add to that.
Well, I mean, you're correct in that the marijuana dispensaries are under the Cannabis Commission, the regulations of the Cannabis Commission. And it is a zoning issue, so I don't know if I have anything additional to add.
Mr. Young, I urge you to speak to the planning board and with the selectmen, because at least right now, even though it's a medicinal issue and even though it's a recreational issue, we have very little effect, that we can affect that at all. But I urge you to speak to them. And again, I also urge you, if you'd like to speak to me one-on-one, please call the Board of Health office. They'll give you my phone number. I'd love to speak to you about that in depth. I know that there are other Board of Health members here too who may want to speak to you, but I'll offer if anybody else too. We do have a physician on the board. We have two very experienced members. If you'd like to speak to us one-on-one, please call us.
Okay, I shall do that. I appreciate the feedback, and I look forward to further discussion and trying to see if it's wise, whatever board it is, or who wants to speak as a private citizen. Could be one of the board members that I'm, that's on this committee. So I think there's a number of options through the committee or as a private citizen providing important information to any board that might consider this topic. So thank you very much again. I will reach out.
And Mr. Young, thank you so much for raising your hand and getting on during Citizens' Time. We really appreciate it. It's very important that we hear from people like you.
You're welcome, and thank you and everyone else on the committee.
Okay, is nobody else?
Just to add to that too, Mr. Chairman, I do believe there is going to be further discussion with the planning board. I think there was talk about the committee being formed to discuss it further. It was supposed to come to the September town meeting and it was withdrawn, so that further discussion could be had on that matter.
I believe there's going to be a subcommittee.
Mr. Young, I hope you're still there, Mr. Young.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I hope you heard that they withdrew it from the upcoming town meeting. It's been withdrawn. Town meeting was going to be held when September 23rd, and the planning board is putting together a subcommittee. I'm not sure if they're including individuals from the community, but I urge you to give them a call. You may be an excellent addition.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the additional information. I'm actually very pleased that it was taken off the warrant, or there was no warrant for it to be considered at the September town meeting, and so that gives more time for input from the community. And thank you all so very much. I appreciate the time tonight and what you do for our community.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night.
Do we have any subcommittee reports? I do not think so.
No, we do have someone who else called in. I don't know if they're here for citizens' time or if any.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak?
I just called in on the phone number. I was having trouble getting onto the video. My phone is not updated, I guess, so I couldn't download the WebEx. But it's Chelsea Arnett, 218 Fox Hill for the keeping of the animals.
Yes, you are on the agenda, and you'll be coming up soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Which brings us to chairman's reports. Well, this is our last summer scheduled meeting, and we will back to 2 meetings a month in September. And September will be a very busy time for both Board of Health members and you. Everybody, open up your schedule now because you're going to add some information. First, September 3rd is our National Primary Day. Please get out there and vote. Our Board of Health meetings this month will be September the 10th and September the 24th. The Board of Health will be offering CPR trainings the mornings of September 9th and 23rd. Why don't you call the Board of Health office at 270-1955 to see if there's any availability if you have an interest. Also, on September the 10th, and this, as I noted earlier, it was a mistake on our minutes from earlier this evening. September the 10th will be a landmark day for the town of Burlington and this Board of Health. The Burlington ribbon cutting ceremony for the Broad Institute, one of the most prestigious bioresearch organizations in the world, will be soon joining our committee. And they will be having a program, and hope you all can make it. A lot of other biotechs have done the same, but thank you for thinking of it and coming. On September 11th, we are holding a psychological first aid training, an outstanding intensive program that is sponsored by our board and the Burlington Medical Reserve Corps. I look forward to this. I will be attending. Others have been outstanding in this area. Town meeting will be held on September the 23rd. And last on my list, September 28th, which is Household Hazardous Waste Day, which we held at the Fox Hill School, our last until next year. So you will be hearing much more than that. You hopefully will be getting announcements by telephone. So please come, please participate, opportunities to meet the Board of Health members and take advantage of what we offer to this community. And as I say many times, the Board of Health touches everyone in the town of Burlington in some way each day. Anybody else would like to add something? I think I've got everything on the agenda, on the schedule. Good. All right. As I said, there are no subcommittee reports this evening. Permits, the keeping of animals, which is hens, 218 Fox Hill Road. And
That's the person that is online.
if that's a person online, is that, let me see if I have the name here.
Would you like me to introduce it?
Please, please.
Okay.
Arnett.
So the applicant is located at 218 Fox Hill Road and wants to keep hens. An inspection was conducted by Samantha Hardy, the Associate Health Inspector, on August 6th. The following were found to be in compliance with the Burlington Board of Health minimum standards for keeping of animals. Chicken coop was designed properly with the proper square footage per hen, proper ventilation, setbacks were met. The manure management plan does not cause a nuisance. Turf management plan, reseeding grass if needed. Feed storage plan does not attract pests. Action by the Board of Health. The board may vote yes to approve the keeping of animals permit for hens for Chelsea Arnett at 218 Fox Hill Road with the following conditions. Notify the Board of Health in advance before increasing the number of hens. Coop shall have adequate space for hens at a minimum 2 square feet per hen, not including the nesting box. Do not purchase or acquire roosters or cockerels. Renew the keeping of animals permit 30 days before the expiration date. Allow the associate health inspector to schedule and conduct a compliance inspection. This permit is approved for the applicant noted above and is not transferable. And violations of this permit may be subject to penalties as noted under Section 2.7 of the Burlington Board of Health, Minimum Standards for Keeping of Animals Regulation. Or the board may vote no, not to approve the keeping of animals permit.
So, Mrs. Arnott,
Yes, hi.
have you seen the conditions that have been placed upon you for the keeping of chickens?
Yes, I have.
And you have any problem with any of them?
No, no issues at all.
And the second is, why do you want to keep chickens? We always ask that.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess one of the obvious reasons is we're looking for eggs, for me and my family, and then kind of just friends and family. And then also it's to us, kind of also like pets a little bit. My partner grew up with them, so he likes them. So that's kind of the second reason, but mostly for eggs.
Have you had chickens before, or is this your first opportunity to try this hobby?
So for me, it's a first time thing. For my partner, he's been raised around them since he was little, so he's very knowledgeable when it comes to them. So.
Okay, thank you. Board of Health members?
Yep.
Anybody?
Mr. Chairman, we have someone raising their
Well,
hand.
I know we have someone. First of all, are there any abutters here? Any abutters here? There are none. Somebody's raised their hand. It looks like I can see, it's Mr. Boyven?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Bill Boyven. I'm at 213 Fox Hill Road. I am an abutter to Ms. Arnett, and I would just like to say that I have seen her coop. She has asked me for advice. I've had chickens for 8 or 9 years myself and under the permit system. She's very thorough. The coop is better than mine, I'm sorry to say. And I thoroughly support her having chickens in the neighborhood.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it. Well, we have, I think, Ms. Johnson told me the other day that this will be number 31.
30, yes.
This will be number 30 of 30 permits we have for hens in Burlington, which is just amazing, just absolutely amazing. So, anybody have any questions of all? If not, yes, sir.
I just have, my name is George Getzerak. We've had chickens in my house for 10 years. And I would,
Please give you know what his address is.
no, I'm sorry.
Your address, please.
My primary residence is Lexington, 16 Stratton Road. I have a couple
Okay.
houses in Burlington. But the thing about having to report any change in chickens, I can tell you from my experience, sometimes chickens die, sometimes they get eaten by predators, and so sometimes it might be more practical just to have certain limits, a certain number of chickens, because I'm talking on a monthly basis sometimes, the chicken count changes, I don't know if everybody calls every month, but number of chickens.
That would
We
be
don't have-
permanent.
So
That would-
what we
yeah.
do is,
Well,
we
changed our bylaws, right?
When Sam and Marlene inspect the coop, they see how many chickens can actually be housed in the
Okay.
coop that they have when they go out. So when we do yearly inspections, and when they go, they look at how many they have. Usually people will notify us too, I think, if they increase the number of chickens. As long as the coop is properly sized, we don't bring them back to the board or change anything.
But they can come in
But-
front of us, right, and have 10, right?
Yeah, the
As long as
permit,
the
we've
coop-
given
right.
them a permit to have chickens.
To have.
And so long as their coop is properly sized, then we're recommending that you approve the permit. Although that being said, there is the planning board. If you have more than six or more than 6 chickens, you then need a permit from the planning board.
So if we pass this, Ms. Arndt can have 6 chickens. If she wants 7 chickens, she has to go to the planning board. So usually, out of the 30, I think 30 permits we've given, this would be, all of them have 6 or less. No, I don't think of anybody who's gone to planning board. Have you?
Not recently, no.
Not recently. So with that, do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion to approve chickens for 218 Fox Hill Road. Do I have that was, we have a motion by Ms. Welch, second by,
Motion to approve.
motion by, second by Ms. Mara El Sabahi. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. 400. You're all set?
Okay, awesome. Am I okay to drop off here? I got a first grader tomorrow, so we got a hectic night.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
And thank you, Mr. Boyven, for coming on to support. Thank you for doing that.
You're very welcome.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night, everybody. Okay, which brings us to the keeping of hens, hens, for 5 Brookside Lane. Do we have somebody here for that? Oh, please come up here. And you can please sit in the corner here, and sign your name.
Sure.
Actually, print it, so we.
Got it.
This is Alexandra Dickinson, 5 Brookside Lane. And an inspection was conducted by Samantha Hardy, Associate Health Inspector for the Board of Health, on August 6th as well. And the following were also found to be in compliance with the Board of Health minimum standards for keeping of animals regulation. The chicken coop design had the proper square footage per hen, proper ventilation, setbacks were met. The manure management plan, it does not cause a nuisance. Turf management plan, reseeding grass if needed. And the feed storage plan does not attract pests. And I'll read this again. The action by the board, you may vote yes to approve the keeping of animals permit for hens for Alexandra Dickinson, 5 Brookside Lane, with the following conditions. Notify the Board of Health in advance before increasing the number of hens. Coop shall have adequate space for hens at a minimum 2 square feet per hen, not including the nesting box. Do not purchase or acquire roosters or cockerels. Renew the keeping of animals permit 30 days before the expiration date. Allow the Associate Health Inspector to schedule and conduct a compliance inspection. This permit is approved for applicants noted above and is non-transferable, and violations of this permit may be subject to penalties as noted under Section 2.7 of the Burlington Board of Health minimum standards for keeping of animals regulation. Or the board may vote no, not to approve the keeping of animals permit.
So Ms. Dickinson, have you seen the conditions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You understand the 6 animal limit unless you have to go to Brandon
Yes.
Board. So I'll ask the question, why do you want chicken?
Just like my Foxhill neighbor, I think it's eggs. We've had, not that we didn't have anybody who grew up with chickens, but we've had experiences with sharing chickens with our neighbors in our previous community. So that was very much rewarding, and I think since we moved here in June, that was just the thought that we would, if we could find a suitable space, we would love to continue.
Let me shut this off. Does anybody have any questions?
Is anybody from
Here we go. Well, first us.
the, oh, no. I
No,
have a
no,
question.
because are there any abutters here who'd like to? No abutters, so we don't want to go foul, just want to check to make sure that nobody, so your pleasure, what's your pleasure? Do I have a motion?
Motion approved.
We have a motion by Ms. Sheehan, seconded by Ms. Welch. All in favor? Aye. 400.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a good night, everybody.
I thought we might, before we go through the biological safety permit, take the variance out of order, because it may take 10 or 15 minutes for that. So could I have a motion to take the variance out of order, please?
Yes, motion to.
I have a motion by Dr. Maro El-Sabahi, second. Second by Mary Beth Welch. All in favor?
Aye.
400. External grease interceptor, Life Alive, 91 Middlesex Turnpike. You please come up here and print your name to come in. You can join him if you'd like. Ms. Johnson, are you presenting?
Yes. Chris Hogan and Leah Dubois are here representing Life Alive Cafe. It's a new food establishment that's going to go into 91 Middlesex Turnpike, formerly Blaze Pizza. Their primary business is food service. The menu is attached. The variance request is from Section 2.3, Part A, installation of an external grease interceptor. Their application is enclosed. So the action by the Board of Health, you may vote yes to approve the variance from Section 2.3, Part A, and allow the new food service establishment to operate without installing an external grease interceptor with the following condition. The food establishment operator and the property owner both understand that this variance may be subject to revocation, suspension, or expiration as determined by the Board of Health. A variance under these regulations may be revoked, modified, or suspended only after the food service establishment has been notified in writing and given an opportunity to be heard at a regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Health. Reasons for revocation, modification, or suspension of a variance include, but are not limited to, a determination that the food service establishment is discharging grease in quantities sufficient to cause sanitary sewer line blockages or increased maintenance of sewer lines. Or the board may vote no, not to approve the variance.
So let's get your names first, please, Mr.
Good evening. My name is Chris Hogan, and I head operations at Life Alive.
And your colleague?
This is Chef Leah Dubois. She heads culinary operations and supply chain.
Good. You do understand why we need a variance and what grease traps do?
Yes, sir.
And you do understand that you must keep a log to maintain. You
Yes.
must keep a log. If not, you will have the wrath of Ms. Johnson. You don't want that.
don't want
And
Or any of our inspectors.
any of your inspectors.
And the
but-
log that Dr. Weiner is referring to is for the inside grease
Yes.
interceptor? That needs to be logged every time it's cleaned.
Yes.
You have experience with,
Yeah, all of our cafes have, excuse me, internal grease traps, and we have those cleaned on a monthly basis by LG Plumbing, and they're logged there as well. And we have very little to no issue with those at all due to
With-
what we cook and how we cook.
with fog, fats, oil, and greases. We had another member who made sure that people understood what fog was. Does any of the board have any questions?
Just, when are you opening?
Working towards
Target
it,
date.
first quarter, we'll call it, of 2025, so.
So I don't have to drive to Lowell anymore?
I'm sorry?
Don't have to drive to Lowell anymore?
No, you won't have to drive to Lowell, although you'll miss it. It's our original location, about to turn 20 years old.
It's,
Wow.
it's the first place I went to.
Is it? Yeah, it's a very cool place,
It
isn't
is.
it?
Yep.
Anybody else?
I don't,
Thank you.
I don't,
I have never been there, although we have in front of us the menu, which is fascinating, so.
Happy to let the chef take you through the menu and pick your first meal.
What is your signature?
We specialize in organic vegetables, food that makes you feel good. So vibrant colors, seasonal foods. We want you to leave feeling energized and full of life.
We usually allow a commercial.
Our signature dish is probably the autumn falafel, which is right around the corner. And our green goddess is a favorite as well.
Thank you.
that was gonna be the Swami.
That was going to be my next.
Yeah.
So does anybody would like to, what is your pleasure, make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the variance.
We have a motion by Ms. Mary Beth Welch, second by Ms. Sheehan. Any other discussion?
No, I think it looks great. The menu looks really nice.
We're excited.
Yeah, I have one other.
Grateful.
Welcome to Burlington. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for coming. which brings us to the biological safety permit, 3 Burlington Woods Drive, Model Therapeutics. Who is going to be making the presentation? How many people do you have? So you can get another couple of chairs?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Okay.
Our environmental engineer, Ms. Mathis, will make the presentation and then I'll give it to you, please.
So Modal is currently occupying a suite at 3 Burlington Woods. They have their hazardous materials storage permit, which was issued in July, and they're seeking their biological safety permit to begin our DNA work. They're in a building that was previously offices and has been retrofitted for lab and R&D space. They'll be occupying one suite of about 5,000 square feet, divided up between lab and offices. And I'll let them go through their presentation.
Could you please state your names, please, all 3, and then sign in, print your name during the presentation.
Yeah, myself, Ravi Kumar. I'm the President and Chief Scientific Officer at Model Therapeutics.
So you're Mr. Kumar?
Yeah.
Is it Dr. Kumar?
Yes.
Dr. Kumar?
Yeah.
Hi, thank you for having us. I am Lavanya Krishnan. I am also with Model Therapeutics.
Gary Lee, also with Model Therapeutic.
Is that Dr. Lee?
Yes.
Dr. Lee? And
Yes.
Krishnan?
Krishnan.
Krishnan, I'm sorry.
Krishnan.
N-A-N, Krishnan. And that's, is that doctor also?
Yes.
Doctor, thank you, doctors. Who's going to make the presentation?
So, thank you again for the opportunity. This is very exciting. We're very excited to be in Burlington. And if we could go through the slides.
Susan.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. So,
Safety department's there, medicine is there.
yes,
Yeah.
Madison. So, we are Model Therapeutics. We were founded last August, so just about a year old, and we are under 10 employees as of right now, including the 3 of us, so 6 people at home right now. But and we started, as I said, in August, but we moved into 3 Burlington Woods Drive building in Suite 101 in mid-March. And we now are seeking the RDNA permit to start doing some recombinant DNA work in our labs, which we have not started as yet. If we could go to the next slide. And again, in terms of team, we have Dr. Ravi Kumar, who is our President and Chief Scientific Officer and also our CEO. Myself, Lavanya Krishnan, I am the head of protein sciences. Dr. Gary Lee, who heads our in vivo biology and preclinical work. And we have multiple scientists, all having more than 10 years of experience, all of them PhD scientists, and then a couple of, one master's scientist as well. But all very experienced in the field and have been working in biotech for a long time. If you could go to the next one. So Model Therapeutics is, we are a stealth mode company. We are seed funded. We are focusing on discovery and development of new protein-based therapies, which leverage the family of proteins called TGF-beta, superfamily of proteins. These are about 70-odd proteins, and they are involved in multiple cellular processes across different organs and therapeutic areas. And we have had a lot of experience under Dr. Ravi Kumar's guidance in working in this field, and we now hope to continue that work and leverage these proteins to make new drugs that can treat a varied number of diseases in the future. So as I said, we are at 3 Burlington Woods Drive. This used to be, as Ms. Mathis said, office building. It was turned into lab space. We occupy 5,000 square feet on the first floor. About 3,000 of it is lab space. The rest is office space. And again, as I said, we moved in March. We are doing, we are not doing any RDNA work, but we have started other lab operations. If you could go to the next one. So the main building has entrances that are locked outside of business hours. There is a building manager, and it so happens that the management of the building has also offices in the same building. We have key cards that restrict access to our space. So everybody needs to tap their badge in to get into the model lab space, so only authorized people can actually get in. If we have visitors, they do call us, and then we can stay with them and get them inside our office spaces. So our labs are BSL-2 because we are working with human cell lines, and our lab and office spaces are segregated with a door that can be locked. The lab air is 100% from the outside. There is no recirculation happening, as well as there are mechanisms to prevent backflow of air. So within the biological agents that are on site, we do have some cell lines that are derived from human and mouse cells. These are in different biosafety levels because it is biosafety 2, and these are very standard cell lines that are used in the field. They're very old cell lines, so they've been very well studied, and they are supplied from ATCC, which is the parent government organization or affiliated organization that keeps all these cell lines, so we get it directly from them. Go to the next one. So we are applying for 2 permits. We have 2 projects rather. One is where we are, and I am the principal investigator for these. So in this particular project, what we are trying to do is to make small quantities of proteins, specific proteins that we will then purify and we will test in animal models. And also in vitro and biochemical assays for their function. These proteins are made by transient expression, which means you just put the DNA in, and as the cell divides, the DNA will be lost. These are not stably transfected, so they only generate small quantities of protein, which are good for like some assays, and up to 9.9 liters is what can be transiently transfected.
And what will be what will be the purpose of the protein?
The purpose of the protein, again, these are related to the TGF-beta superfamily of proteins, and the purpose would be to see if we can gain certain, or we can use these proteins to elicit a particular signaling response in cells. And if that works very well, then we put it into mice and we test whether these proteins are able to treat any of the diseases that are involved with malfunctioning of this pathway.
Thank you.
So the second project, if we go to the next one, is more for a medium to larger scale, because the transient expression by nature is transient. You cannot really make a lot of the protein. So what happens, the alternate way to make more quantities is to take that DNA and have it integrate into the cell, the host DNA, and that way we keep making that. These are called stable cell lines, and these that way the protein can be made for much larger quantities and over a longer period of time. And that is very useful, again, for doing in vivo preclinical testing once we know which ones we are interested in. And so these would be the 2 sort of projects we are looking at. In terms, the next slide here talks about where we plan. So we have a basement that what used to be a garage facility, but that has now been converted into nice storage spaces. And here we plan to store our extra consumables and also some waste material, which would be fully packaged and in appropriate containment. The next slide is where our labs are. This is our main 5,000 square feet space. Both the green marks the lab spaces, and the office space and a little kitchenette are marked on the other side. And as you can see, there are multiple exits, and also we have direct access to the freight elevator right there. If you go to the next one. So in terms of general lab policies, personal protective equipment, PPE is very important. We have buttoned up lab coats and safety glasses that are mandatory for being in the lab, and when scientists are working in the lab at the bench, they are required to wear gloves. Of course, there is no eating or drinking or applying cosmetics that is allowed in the laboratory, and all sort of general universal precautions will be observed when we are handling human source material. Infection control, all our lab-based scientists are offered bloodborne pathogen and hepatitis B vaccination when they are hired. So we have that ongoing, and they will receive. We have received bloodborne pathogen training, and our occupational health services are contracted through Mount Auburn. And we have our biosafety manual as well as exposure control plans in place already. So in terms of waste, we do adhere to Massachusetts Sanitary Code, and then we have a contract with a company called Veolia to remove solid and sharps biological waste. It is not taken outside the lab area without being completely sealed and ready for transport, and it is packaged according to DOT and security code regulations, sanitary code regulations. Liquid biological waste will be treated with 10% bleach with a 30-minute contact time before it is disposed of in the sink. And all these processes and procedures were approved by the IBC, which is the Institutional Biosafety Committee, in July. And here are some of the permits that we already have. One thing that I want to point out is the hazardous waste, very small quantity generator. That says in progress, but we do have that already. It's been approved. And as it's listed, all our permits are in place. And again, vendors, we have Veolia taking care of our waste, and lab coats are disposable. Occupational health is with Mount Auburn, and we have the fume hoods and BSCs, which are the biosafety cabinets, as well as pest control and safety consultants are with safety partners. So everything is done. And that's about it in terms of slides. So thank you so much. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, I'll let the board first because we're in time constraint. Do you have any questions? Yeah.
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
I just had one quick
Oh,
question.
why don't you have some? Sure, go ahead.
So in terms of the recombinant technology where you're producing more of these cell lines, how much volume are we talking about? I think for the transient, it's less than 10 liters. I'm just curious.
Yeah, the large scale goes up to about 50 liters.
I see,
But
okay.
very rarely. I think most
see.
of the time we're looking at 20 liters.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Would you like to go first, or shall I?
I'm all set.
You're all set? Okay, let me go through a few things with you then. First, the emergency action plan It says here, a hazardous material processing permit has been requested, and then in the insert town should be Burlington. So we're looking at page number 9. There's a typo in there. Next to last paragraph, next to last line, in addition, requested from, nothing's there. We're talking about your actual,
Okay.
do you have that in front of you?
We don't.
Well, you left the town out.
Oh, I'm sorry. We
sorry,
can
yeah.
definitely fix that.
Yeah, we'll
Sorry
fix
about
it, yeah.
that.
Okay, you left the town out.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Can I say something? I'm their safety consultant, and I did send a revised revision
First of all,
copy.
who is speaking, please?
I'm so sorry. My name is Madison Patton, and I'm from Safety Partners. I am Modal Therapeutics Safety Consultant.
Okay, so please fix that. That is corrected already. Okay, and then page.
Yes.
And then page 17 on that same document. That 17-name document. This is going to run all the way through because I have a number. Under notifications for all of your emergencies, you must notify the Burlington Board of Health.
Oh.
So you need to add that to Mystic Regional Emergency Planning. You need to add the Burlington Board of Health because we are the group from the community that's responsible. Okay?
Sure. Yep.
And that includes also, under page 32, please include the Burlington Board of Health. So, okay, in that document. In the other document, biosafety manual, and this is easy on page 19. I read everything. Onto page 19, there is a notification or a description for Burlington biosafety levels 3 and 4. You are not using biosafety. So this is just boilerplate, just for an explanation.
Yeah.
Okay? And then again on page 43, of that same document, it does notice standard practices for working in BSL 1 and BSL 2. So it does indicate just 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Will you be using any BSL 2 plus? No. Okay. And then the last question is for our environmental engineer, and that is, do we have a community representative so far?
We do. They had their own community representative. It's somebody who lives in Burlington.
Who is that?
I don't.
Dr. Rao? Yeah.
Dr. Rao Varada.
Okay.
He was.
He's a member of the IBC committee, yeah.
Is that acceptable, Christine? It is acceptable. Okay, good. I don't have anything else. I've been through it. So I am going to be looking for a motion to...
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
can I
sir.
just get a clarification?
Okay, good.
So do we have the revised manual?
Yes.
Oh, that's a good...
Okay, so we have that now.
We have that, and it's what is in the package. They didn't catch, I did ask for that one typo to be corrected, but it got missed. So
Okay, so they still need to
they need to change, I think it's page 9.
correct those and resubmit.
So, yeah, and the Board of Health is on their one-page spill emergency plan, but Dr. Wider is asking for it to be inserted into, insert the Board of Health in the longer.
We have been very consistent on that. I have asked every single company in coming to Burlington that if there's an issue, we're not going to be judgmental, but we need to know.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay?
I just have one other question.
Yes.
With the BSL 3 and 4 that you referenced, the boilerplate,
Yes.
is that okay for it to be boilerplate, or does it need to be specific in that plan?
In the plan, it's specific that their labs will be BSL-2.
Yeah.
Their entire labs are BSL-2.
But what he's talking
The
about.
manual just has a generic description of all 4, but then it has a specific section that describes their particular labs.
And they understand they can only be 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve, approve the biological safety permit for Model Therapeutics?
So moved.
I have a motion by Mary Beth Welch, second by?
Second.
second by Andrea Sheehan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 400. So, Mr. Kumar, so doctors, say doctors.
Yes.
Welcome to Burlington. We're very happy that you're going to be here. Just as a note, it's all been passed, you have your permit, but just keep in mind, we do have a Burlington Board of Health faculty, and maybe we could get you to join in case the Rotary Club, in case the high school or whatever has some questions and they'd like you to talk a little bit about it, you could become more part of this community.
Sure.
Would you please consider that?
Sure, we will, yeah.
It's not an imperative, but
No, definitely, it's community service.
with that, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for staying. Okay. Hearings, housing, 4 Wildwood Street. Would you please come up? And I think we know you, but please state your name and print for the recording secretary.
My name is George Katsarakis. Good evening. At the last meeting, we continued this until today, and we are making progress. We have another hearing in court with the tenant September 4th. I'm told the tenant has a signed lease for a new place to move to. We haven't gotten a copy of that lease, and we don't know if it's going to be the 1st, the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th week in September. I mean, I haven't really had, my attorney is dealing with her attorney, and we're waiting to find out when they'll actually be vacating the house and moving. So if it's possible to continue this, maybe to the end of October, because these things tend to drag longer than, first time dealing with this type of thing, so I can't say I have a lot of experience in it, but it seems to be, moving in the right direction, but could be the end of September, but who knows, could even be into October.
Would you like to present this document?
Yeah, so to add to what he's saying, when he was here a few months ago before the board, there was discussion about the windows and the window pane in one of the rooms and putting plastic over the top of it. So he completed all that work. He fixed that window, didn't replace the windows. So according to the housing code, technically the windows need to be replaced because they need to be double pane windows. So that's really what he's here for, to continue the replacement of those windows. But he did fix them as the board requested, where they are now made safe.
Yeah, it was one of the big front window. We have a huge sheet of plexiglass over, so it's definitely much safer. And there's no, like when last time we were there, they were literally had broken shards of glass sticking out. So I removed them all and made sure it was safe, so that nobody, a pet or a child, would get hurt.
Your suggestion, would you have any?
So, I mean, if the board does not continue it, then they would hold up the original order, which would be to require him to fix it completely. And I think the issue back when we discussed this originally was that, and you can tell me why that couldn't be, I think it was access getting into the house, problems getting in to be able to fix it completely. The tenant was not being totally cooperative in letting you in to replace the windows.
Well, I mean, it was challenging to get in, and I have other properties that we can get in and with the permission of the tenant, but this tenant has a big German Shepherd that sometimes is loose in the house, sometimes not. So even when I have contractors come, I usually have to be there and make sure it's safe so that the contractors don't get bitten by the dog, and the dog has bitten people. So, so that's always a challenge, getting into a house when you have a German Shepherd that's aggressive.
So the extension would allow him to exactly what to do?
So the extension would allow additional time to continue to the court proceedings to have the current tenant leave the property so that he can make the corrections.
And the rationale there is that we're trying to figure out how we're going to deal with this later, because, you know, are we going to replace all the windows? Are we going to, you know, what's the condition of the house once we get control of it to see what might be the best path? And, you know, honestly, replacing panes of glass on old windows is probably not the best form. If the board of health requires it, we'll do it. But I just think that once we get possession, we can see what's there, and then we can figure out what we're going to do to make this property, you know, be more successful.
So, Mr. Katsarakis, that if we give you the extension and the tenant leaves, you still must bring it up to code.
Oh, before we get anybody else to live in the house, absolutely. I mean, we're gonna.
You understand that?
When I rented the house the first time, I mean, I try to put it in a shape that I wouldn't mind living there. So, so very unusual to have a house with so many broken windows.
And you may remember that it appears, as Mr. Katsarakis says, did I say that right?
Yeah, George is fine.
George, that it's possible that the dog broke the windows. It's possible. Is that correct?
You know, there's been a lot of, we had some screens that were shredded that I fixed those, and we've had on the sill, it looks like a lot of claw marks. So it's, you know, and I've had dogs, so I mean, dogs can be dogs, but, you know, the German Shepherd told me it was a service dog, but I'll tell you, I won't go into the house without that thing being in a cage, or unless the owner takes it out of the house, because it's just, I mean, it's a German Shepherd, and if it feels threatened, it gets aggressive. So
now, if we do extend this, then what would be the date? I think you mentioned to me in the discussion that the second meeting in October.
Well, yeah, that would be up to the board.
But that's what you're suggesting?
Well, that's what Mr. Katsarakis is suggesting, that he thinks is enough time, correct?
I would say by the end of October. I mean, we're trying to get it resolved, but the courts are slow, and, you know, I was hoping it was going to be August, and it's leaked into September, and so given how everything tends to go slow, maybe it was because of the summer. I mean, obviously, as soon as I know that the tenant is somewhere else, not in the house, I'll let the board know so that it'll be a non-issue at that point.
So leave it to the board. I mean, shall we, I'm trying to get my...
Is the first meeting date in October? Yeah, the second and fourth meetings of the month.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the... I'm trying to get...
8th and the 22nd.
Maybe the 8th and the 22nd. So is it fair to say that your expectation is that, you know, there's a lease signed by this tenant for a new property? Are you expecting that tenant, your current tenant, to be out by the 6th of September?
So I have to be careful how I speak, because I'm in the middle of litigation, so I don't want to say anything that's not appropriate. Let's just say the tenant has been trying to find a place since last November, and they tell me it's been difficult to find a place. So the only way I can motivate the tenant is to go through the courts. We've asked the tenant to leave. They haven't left. They don't seem to be happy with the house, but they haven't left. And so I can't control that, because that's why originally when we did this, I think at the beginning of summer, we figured end of August should be plenty of time. And I don't have enough, I've never evicted anybody before, so I don't know how long it takes, and it's sad it takes as long as it does, but the court and its wisdom and Massachusetts law, they're going to do what they're going to do. So I don't want to waste the time of the Board of Health, you know, coming in meeting after meeting. I don't want to test, you know, your patience. You guys have been very fair. I mean, I would suggest maybe the first meeting in November, so that we, you know, don't have to deal with this again, because I can't control the court. I don't even have a trial date. September 4th is a date on a motion. I'm hoping the trial date will be September, and usually when these dates are made, things get resolved. But until I have a date, we're hoping we can come to an agreement with the tenant, and then it'll be a non-issue for the Board of Health.
The second meeting in October is the 22nd of October, which is about...
I think that's fair.
Fair? I think that's fair. That's almost 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be? If that's the case, I would like a motion to continue this until the second meeting in October, which is October 22nd.
I'll make a motion to continue this until October 22nd, which is the continuation of allowing the window to be, I'll call it semi-repaired.
Okay? Do I have a second?
Yes, motion to approve.
So it's a motion by Ms. Sheehan, second by Ms. Dr. El Sabahi, to move to continue this until October 22nd. I just want to ask Mr. GK, GK, we'll do it that, Katsarakis. There's nothing dangerous going on in there at all. There's no shards of glass, there's nothing, we're just talking about the repair of, what is it, just one window?
They had about half a dozen broken windows.
And you repaired how
So
many?
before we renovated the house, we repaired, there were like 3 or 4 pieces that were broken. And then, I'm not sure how the others broke. I mean.
But how many are broken now, today?
So, well, the glass that was broken has been removed. So in the wooden windows that go up and down, there might be, I would guess, at least one big plate glass and maybe 4 or 5 like half panes that are just missing the glass.
So it's not straight out to the environment, there is a pane?
Oh, yeah, well, there were storm windows on the outside, so the storm windows that go up and down, screens that go up and down, so the house is safe from the elements, it's just.
Okay, safe from the elements.
Yes.
Okay, I think that's important. The safety, there is a pane of glass there. Not 2, but 1 pane of glass there. And the issue is we've got to stay on this because winter's coming. I know it's 80 degrees today, but winter's coming and you're in a bad situation. So I have a motion and I have a second to continue this from August the 27th, which is today, until October 22nd, the second meeting October. Any other discussion from our staff? All in favor? Aye. 3-0-0. You can note that Ms. Welch needed to leave. Okay. So 3-0-0, we still have a quorum. You're all set?
Okay, thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Which brings us now to 6 Ardmore kennel license recommendations. I'm sorry you had to wait.
That's all right.
I hope you found it at least interesting.
You sit there, you can write next. Well, his writing's bad.
So you're Jenny Trickett?
I am Jenny Trickett.
And,
This is Sean Waite.
okay. So I guess Sean Wade is your partner?
Yes.
And, oh, good, he's signing in. Please
Yes.
print your name, please.
Yes, I'm even making sure he uses his grown-up handwriting. So.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. Wait till you get it all in. Who is going to be presenting this, Ms. Johnson?
I believe
Thank you.
Susan's presenting it.
Susan?
Yeah, I can.
Please go ahead.
So Samantha Hardy was out there and did an inspection of the property. You want to tell us a little bit about how many dogs you have and the breed and?
So I've always been a huge dog lover. I have 2 coonhounds, which is like a really big beagle, if you don't know what they are. And they come first in my household. So we have an electronic dog door. We have a big fenced-in yard. The fence is 6 foot. It's down under the ground. They can't get up. It's very safe for them. And they come and go as they please. The dog door can obviously be turned off, but it's collar activated. So they come and do their own thing, and they have quite the life of Larry. And I also I have over the years fostered a lot of dogs. I volunteer with the Northeast Coonhound Rescue. So the number of dogs in our house has always been a little fluid. We have 2 standard citizens, and then we have fosters and friends' dogs. It's just it's set up for the dogs very much so. And then I met this one, and he moved in, and he had 2 dogs of his own, so the 2 became 4. So that was where we hit we need a kennel license apparently, which I didn't quite realize. So we just went to register his 2, the way we registered my 2, and then we got a letter saying you have 4. That's a kennel license. So here we are. So we have 4. They are 14, 10,
7 and
Two.
2-ish. So they're a big range of ages and big range of sizes, big range of personalities. But they're all very loved and very well
Wait,
cared for.
yours?
Say again?
Your breed.
Beagle mix and a dog.
Yeah, he looks like a black lab, but he's not.
I did a DNA test. He was half golden retriever, but he's got short black hair, so he's a dog. About 50 pounds.
So for the, just for the newer board members, the kennel license is actually issued through the town clerk's office. So the Board of Health doesn't actually issue the kennel license, but in the bylaws, it requires that the board issue a recommendation to the town clerk, whether favorable or unfavorable. Most of the kennel licenses that the town clerk has are not actually kennels. They're not what, as you would think of a kennel. They're more like pets in a home. They just have more than 4, or 4 or more, and then you're required to go to the town clerk's office.
So the question is, for us to approve this, did we need to notify the abutters?
No, so we don't actually approve it. You would just send it to the town clerk. We're in favor of this, or we're not in favor of it. I mean, if you were not in favor of it, I suppose the town clerk still could issue it, but I'm sure they would take, the board's opinion into consideration. So that's how it works.
And did anybody inspect there?
Yeah, so Samantha Hardy was out there. She does inspections of all of the kennels once a year. So every year, the town clerk sends a list, and she goes out and inspects all the homes, make sure everything is sanitary. And that's really kind of what we're looking at, not so much as the care of the animals, but we're looking more of the, of course, if there was an issue, we would bring that up, but more of the conditions and whether they're sanitary and people are picking up after the dogs, et cetera. So she did do an inspection, and everything was fine.
Everything was fine.
So what happens if they add 2 more dogs? Let's just say, because you said you do fostering and you have people over with dogs, like at what point does it, I don't know, need additional kenneling licensing, or does it come to our attention?
I don't think there's a limit to the amount that you can keep. I mean, I'm not that familiar with how the town clerk does it, but I think if somebody we've had, there was that one that had about 8. So
And the animal control officer is involved as well. He does an annual inspection, so he's looking out for the welfare of the animals.
Right. Okay.
So he would pick up on that if there were several, if he felt that. Right.
What we were basically told is that, every year, obviously, we get a revisit. Somebody comes over and checks it out. And obviously, if we got another dog, we'd add them to the license at some point. So they would be well aware of how many dogs we had permanently at any one point. Fosters don't need registering unless they're there for over 6 months, I think it is. It might be 3 months, can't remember. But they're very rarely there more than a couple of weeks. That's kind of how that just all goes. So we've always been quick to register any dog that's,
Are you the owner of 6 Ardmore Ave?
Yes.
Okay. And the dogs are not let loose. It does say right here, fenced-in area.
They're in a fenced-in yard, yeah. And they're all chipped and collared and tagged, and if any of them manage to escape, we quickly get them back, because they're all air tagged and everything as well, so.
If our professional feels that it's all right, I have no problem with a favorable recommendation.
I agree.
So I would need a motion to provide a favorable recommendation to the town clerk for the issuance of a kennel license for 6 Ardmore Ave.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve by Dr. Marwa El Sabahi, second by Ms. Sheehan. No other discussion? All in favor? Aye. 3-0-0. You're all set?
Thank you very much.
Well, you're not all set.
Well, this
We're
is
going to give a recommendation to, you're all set with the board, we're going to give a recommendation to the town clerk.
Okay.
And
So what do we do next? Will that all just come back to us eventually?
we will
Well,
note,
we send a letter to the town clerk's office,
Okay.
and then you could just contact them.
I'd wait a couple days and contact them.
Perfect, that we will do
All right?
that.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Uh,
Get my things up.
Everybody, I'm going to ask the board for a 5-minute recess. 5-minute recess So why don't you just, we have a 5-minute recess. And then we'll come right back and do reports.
There we go.
There we go. Which brings us now to staff reports. Our environmental engineer. First, before you begin, thank you very much for reviewing the Modell permit. It was a very long read. Thank
That's
you.
a long read.
Thank you.
And I had to read it about 3 times.
So did I.
So just a couple of announcements. As you mentioned, household hazardous waste is on September 28th, Fox Hill School, 8:30 to noon as usual. I would like to point out that we will not be accepting fire extinguishers at this event. And if people have them to get rid of, they can contact the Board of Health. It's on our website. If they have questions beyond the website, we can walk them through that. The next issue is the mosquito risk levels. A couple weeks ago, Burlington's risk level for West Nile virus got increased from low to moderate due to 2 positive mosquito samples that were captured on 2 different occasions. We remain at remote for EEE, but you may have heard in the news or seen in the papers that EEE, there have been cases. So currently, there has been 1 human case of EEE in the state and 1 animal case. And then it was just reported today, I believe, that there was a EEE-related death in southern New Hampshire. So DPH has increased the risk level for various communities in the state. Like I said, we are still at remote for EEE because we're not in the areas where the positive mosquitoes and or cases have been clustered. Those are in Plymouth County and southern Worcester County. And DPH, in conjunction with Department of Agriculture, did additional spraying in those 2 portions of the state. So, those are my updates. Any questions on?
First, on your updates, EEE tends to be in clusters areas, as you notice, and we don't have any clusters here, but it can be very serious. West Nile virus is much less serious.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, EEE can, it's in the name, encephalitis, but it has a high mortality rate as compared to West Nile virus. Often people with West Nile virus don't even know that they have it because the symptoms are very, very mild. But that's the status.
Any questions?
Will we be spraying even though it would be more, not as necessary as other communities?
So we're on a continuous, throughout this mosquito season, we're on a continuous truck-mounted spraying schedule, and that is dictated by the routine and continuous sampling events that happen throughout the season. So there's 4 quadrants that get sampled in Burlington and throughout the season, and they take a look at any positives and what those results are, and that dictates spraying schedules. So if one area it was showing a concentration, that might get sprayed several times over the course of a summer, spring, summer, and into fall. Others get their normal routine spray.
Got it, thank you.
Yep.
And prior to, we still do the catch basins, and we still do helicopter spraying of
Yeah, so
larvae.
the helicopter spraying is done usually in April, and that's for the mosquito larvae, and that spraying event takes place over the basically the Vinebrook well field, because that's where the big wetlands is. And then over the course of the season, they do the mosquito treatments in the catch basins, and I believe all catch basins in Burlington have been treated thus far. They're usually done by the beginning of August, and then they'll continue with the truck-mounted spraying as needed.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? If not, can I have a motion to approve the environmental engineer's report?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Motion to
Second.
approve.
All in favor? Aye. 300. Health Agent, Marlene Johnson.
Good evening. So the 3 consecutive day suspension of the sale of tobacco permit occurred, and Samantha and I did a drive-by a couple of days during that 3-day period to make sure that they were closed. No issues there. We're almost at the end of the summer. And just a quick recap, all the camps in Burlington, they were about 4 camps, were all inspected, no issues with those. All the outdoor pools were inspected, again, no issues with those. And I wanted to make the board aware that there's going to be a flip circus coming to town on Friday, September 6th, and they're going to be here for 12 days. It's over at the Burlington Mall. I have a temporary food permit for that event. They're just going to be doing simple things, cotton candy, popcorn, fried dough, beverages, but it's going to be pretty big. So just wanted to let you know about that. You probably will see that as you drive down Mall Road or Middlesex Turnpike.
What the dates on that again, Molly, please?
It starts on Friday, September 6th, and it runs for 12 days.
No way home.
They have 3 shows on the weekends, 1 show during the week. You'll probably see more advertisement as you get closer to. It's going to be pretty big. Any questions on my report?
Yeah, Marwa? I am always, I count the amount of issues that you address on a regular basis, and I know it's been a month, but there were well over 100, so thank you so much, Marwa.
I keep busy.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Do I have well, before we go on, I'm going to include in your report, because you always have the ability to answer it, any questions concerning the Associate Health Inspector's report. Do we have anybody have any? I have nothing. So therefore, I'm going to ask for motion to approve the health agents and the Associate Health Inspector's report. Can I have a motion?
You have a motion to approve.
I have a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So 3-0-0. Get that out of the way here. Next is Associate Director of Public Health. First, before you begin, congratulations on your certificate in local government leadership and management course that you took at Suffolk University. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to highlight anything?
I did. I'd actually like to thank you, Mr. Chair, for agreeing to speak at our next quarterly meeting of the Burlington Volunteer Reserve Corps. Certainly appreciate that.
And the topic is?
And the topic is meetings, bloody meetings. And it's going to be informative and entertaining, I'm sure. And we've already got 21 volunteers signed up for it.
Wow.
And for the record, Ms. Luminello, our Director of Public Health, has told me that I cannot use that title because it's inappropriate. So I've changed it.
He was tempted, I guess.
Is there anything else you'd like to?
That was it, unless you have any questions about it.
Any questions?
That's great.
We have a psychological first aid coming part?
We do. We got another training for the BVRC that's coming up on September 11th. And that's going to be a 4-hour psychological first aid with Dr. Shamala Khan and Dr. Moorhead Slaughter, both of Boston Medical. And that's one I'm looking forward to attending.
So am I. Are there any openings for there, or are we all full?
I'd have to look into that, actually.
Okay.
I think we might have some openings.
Okay, good. I know one of the speakers, as you know, very well, and she's tremendous. She's just, brilliant. So if there's nothing else, can I have a motion to approve the Associate Director of Public Health report?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 300. Which now brings me to our last report. Director of Public Health, Ms. Susan Luminello. Do you have some updates for us?
Yeah, so I'm currently working with Sandy on the flu clinic planning. We got 30 doses of high dose today, 80 doses of the regular dose. So we get some towards the end of August, then they guarantee some towards the end of September, and then the last shipment the end of October. So it's kind of difficult to plan because we don't know exactly when we're going to be getting doses and how much we're going to get. So we have slotted October 5th for the larger flu clinic, but we're going to try to give out the high dose as it comes. So we're looking at planning, giving out the 30 doses of high dose. Then the next week or so, we just need to get it for a couple of weeks. We just need to get a room. So we'll be doing that in September. And then she's planning clinics for the emergency responders with the regular dose vaccine. And then hopefully we'll get a shipment by the end of September, so then we can move forward with the October 5th clinic and not have to wait until the end of October. Because I think last year it was a problem in waiting in that, because we had a lot of vaccine left over towards the end of the season. Actually, we didn't really wait that long, though. We had it like mid-October, but we still had a hard time giving it away. So, and then she's also starting to work with the schools on the vaccinations for the children. So the schools fax over the information on immunization records of children that they know are enrolled, and then we start that process of figuring out what vaccinations they need, and then Sandy is going to bring them into the office and vaccinate them in the office. So we're working on that too. We've already started receiving some vaccination records from the school nurse.
Okay. Do we have a date on that, when those vaccinations begin, the school vaccinations?
So those are just ongoing, the school vaccinations. We do them as we get the records. So sometimes it takes a while to go through the records and make sure we put them into the system, into the MIIS system. Once she gets all the information set, then she's going to call them to the office, and then we get them sporadically. So as the school nurse gets them, she'll fax them over to us. That's the new students. We've gotten most of the students that are currently enrolled that need vaccinations over the summer. So we did a lot over the summer, so that way we won't get too many as September starts. So we did quite a few, so we should be pretty good. I think there's only like 10 outstanding from currently enrolled students.
And I think you know that the town, I'm not sure it's the fire department, has a translation service now if you need something of that sort.
Well, yeah, so the town is looking into the translation services, but we've always had it. We've had it for quite a while through the shared services. So we use Propio, which is, but that is paid for by the grant, and it's for the Burlington, Wilmington, Lexington Boards of Health.
Okay, from Triton.
Yeah, from the Triton Collaborative, and we've been using that for quite a while. It works really well.
Thank you. Any questions?
I was going to ask one question.
Please.
So how, do you ask the state for a certain number of vaccines depending on how many people you know are going to be in need, or do they just give you a certain, I'm just kind of wondering how it's organized.
No, we order it through the state, but we have to be really careful about how much we order. So I usually only like to see what children need, and then order it then, because we have some in the fridge now.
You have surplus that's sitting.
Because you have to order in a certain number of doses. But I don't like to over order, because if it expires, then we are now responsible to pay for it. So I have to make sure that we don't over order any vaccine. But yeah, we have to be careful with that. Yeah, and I don't like to keep too much on hand if we don't need to, so.
Any questions? With the high-dose flu vaccine, we have 30 doses coming. Are they here?
They're here, they came today.
They came today?
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll be getting more of those 30 doses?
Yeah, so we ordered a total of 150. So we'll get some in September and then the last in October. So we're trying to get them out as we get them. We'll probably just put a sign-up sheet or something down at the COA and it will fill up quickly. You know, we used to get the hard, because all the seniors tend to want it earlier in the season. So.
Okay. And we had some personnel shifts since the last meeting.
Yeah, so we Jen Boulay actually went over to the building department, and we've been conducting interviews for that position. Gail has been helping us out. We did that this week, yesterday, narrowed it down to one person, and we're in the process now. Joanne is in the process of contacting her and checking her references. So hopefully that will come through, because we are entering now, we're going back into a busy season. So Sarah's going to be getting really busy with the food clinic and the food permits and all that coming up. So.
Now, before we vote on yours, we do have a supervisory nurse, and if you haven't met her, please go up and meet her. Her name is Sandra Triani, and she's been with us about, how long? About 4 weeks?
Yeah, about that.
About 4 weeks. And she did give us a very brief report, as you saw. She's in training, although she has been really doing very well. And does anybody have any questions for Susan about the supervisory nurse? We're very lucky to have somebody that professional, good, and bilingual, too.
Yeah, it really helps with the scheduling of the appointments for the kids. It helps in, now they can actually come into the office instead of having to do a clinic with everyone and have an interpreter available.
So, any questions at all? If not, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the Director of Public.
I was going to ask one thing.
Sure.
So what, her responsibilities like towards, for instance, the children, they're coming in, they're getting their vaccines. Are there any other kind of preventive measures that she's responsible for? I'm just curious to know, or, you know, in terms of their health or.
Oh, with regards to, other than vaccinations for children? No. Okay. I mean, we can give information on like how to sign up for Mass Health, how to get a pediatrician, because that is the problem.
Well, that's what I was wondering about, yeah.
The problem is getting them a pediatrician, getting into them, because normally, in the past, we would only give them their first vaccinations, and then usually by that time, they're already signed up with health insurance, and they already have a physician. But in a lot of these children's cases, they can only get limited Mass Health, which only allows hospital visits. So we've just been continuing vaccinating them, because they can't, if they want to see a physician, they have to go to the community health center, and I think the closest one is like
Lynn. We were saying, yeah.
And so they have a hard time getting transportation there, although they are required to get a physical for school. So the schools have been working with them. I think there's a local, like a convenient MD. I don't know if it's convenient MD, but that
they
type
work
of.
with the school for
that is offering vouchers for free physicals
That's
for
nice.
the kids. So the schools are working with them to make sure that they get their physical. But the real problem is them getting actual health insurance to see a pediatrician.
She has other responsibilities, too.
Oh, no, I know. I was just like,
Yeah.
just asking
As far as
specifically
that.
about.
And then also too, with the grant, we just started this week, was the community health outreach worker who has the last one, put together resources and stuff for these families in different languages, so that they can kind of try to start the process, so they know where these community health centers are, and they know, like, at least to get signed up for that limited Mass Health. In the event of an emergency, they could go to the hospital emergency room.
So I'll go back, though. Thank you. I need a motion to approve the Director of Public Health, which includes the supervisory nurse's report. So, do I have a motion? Motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
3-0-0. Well, there's a few more weeks left of summer. Maybe less than that now. Labor Day is coming up, so the unofficial ending of summer. So please, everybody, be well, be careful. This is a very busy couple of weekends coming up, so be very careful how you drive and how you travel. Wash your hands and be well. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn, second by Dr. El Sabahi. All in favor? Aye. 300. Good night, everyone.